So Rachel, how has how an employee gets to work changed? Like, so walk us through like getting to work, what's different, what stages are implemented as they start their work day.
Sure. So basically we have one entrance that we're having all of our staff come through. We have a spreadsheet, and essentially they walk in the door, we take their temperature, we record that, and then if let's say they do have a fever, we send them right back out the office. And from there, then they come on in, they can get sort of started with their day, put their things away. We open up the office, so we have to turn everything on and all of that. The main difference is that it takes a long time to put all of that protective equipment on. Normally, that's not the case. We don't need to go out and grab a patient with a full mask and all of that gear on. So that is really what's going to take time to create a habit is, okay, maybe I need to get to work 10 minutes earlier so that I can get my things together and then make sure that I am ready so that I can go grab my patient with my mask and all of my garb on. So that's going to be the main thing, I think, is just getting used to the new normal. And we're all helping each other out. I think it's sort of been on the fly as we've been learning all of these new things. So everybody's been really great and flexible as we've been learning. We also have a lot of signs in our office too. Just reminders.
Not alone.
Yes, yes.
So Becky, what does it look like for a staff member to enter at Big Sky right now?
So the minute they come in the door, we have the bottle of hand sanitizer. Hopefully it's a physical cue. Sanitize your hands. You just walk through multiple doors to get in here. Right next to that, we have this table with all of these sheets of paper flipped over, face down with a pen and their name assigned to each one. So because we're a smaller office, we're doing a symptom self-reporting that we then as a team go and, well, individuals designated go and check those symptoms each day. And we called Riverstone and talked to Riverstone about what should those screening questions look like. And so we mirrored what Riverstone is doing with their questions, and each individual signs off on the actually lack of symptoms, and then can go about their day. And so what we're trying to do there is, there's a lot of individual circumstances to consider, but if there's a conversation to be held, like one of our questions is if they've left Yellowstone County in the past 2 to 3 days. And if they have, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing or that it means instant quarantine. But we do want to say, hey, what did you do? Some people just went hiking or fishing. But if they've left the state and spent a weekend with family outside of the state, I likely will handle that differently than I would just going out to the mountains for the weekend. It really depends on that contact that they see in that time. But from there, with that,
I was just going to ask you if you remembered or have the other questions. Do you have?
They involved if they've been in contact with anyone with COVID in the last 2 to 3 days. And then there's one that gives the actual symptoms. Have you had a fever, shortness of breath, respiratory illness, cough in the last 2 to 3 days? But that guidance is constantly changing. So rather than duplicating off of what I just said, I'd recommend everybody just call Riverstone Health. Their phone number is in the middle of their website when you pull it up on the homepage. You leave a message, they get right back to you, and they will spend as long as you need on the phone with you answering your questions about your specific circumstances. And so from there, the day looks pretty normal for people. But we did close down a few of our staff or a few of our areas. We're limiting how many people can be in the break room together at the same time. So that changes their morning coffee routine just a little bit. And we've shut down 2 of our seating areas where we usually just sit and relax and collaborate. And the purpose of that was less close interaction and less cleaning. Every surface we touch, we have to clean. So we're saying, hey, don't sit here. We don't want to spend our disinfectant wipes on that area. We want to keep it in our high touch areas. So
we did that same thing with our team area. We've really limited how many people can be going in and out. So we have 1 to 2 managers, a supervisor and a manager on staff typically. So we really have to monitor that. It's definitely going to take all of our team together to make sure. I would say accountability is one thing we've talked about with our staff a lot, is we have to help each other to make this change. And so that we're really going to count on our team to make sure that there's not 10 people in the break room at one time. So we're really leaning on them for that too.
And the trust factor of, that they're watching out for themselves as well as everybody else. I mean, we're very much trusting that they haven't been in contact with people and that they're being mindful of us as well as themselves. Allison, I thought to throw in some HR garb or language here, because this is an interesting change. The EEOC, which is the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, I always mess those up. They're the ones that update guidance on the ADA, which is our Americans with Disabilities Act. They have recently updated their guidance and come out and said that it is okay for employers to screen employees for COVID-19, because that was really uncomfortable for me in the beginning to hear that we had to screen our employees in order to do this phase 1 reopening because of all the protected health information and their private things. But they did come out and say, yes, you may screen your employees for the reason that an individual with the virus will pose a direct threat to the health of others. So for those that are still wrestling with that, if you have an HR professional that you, like associated employers that you consult with, call and talk that through with them. There's a little bit, because it's a pandemic and because it's this unknown environment, we have been given that ability to screen for COVID.